The Mandela Marathon have just hours left to enter the race. The race, which celebrates the legacy of former President Nelson Mandela, will have until 8 p.m. tonight to secure a place in one of the races.
The Mandela Day Marathon has garnered mass acclaim as a tribute to the global icon. It starts at Mbali Township in Pietermaritzburg, where Mandela delivered his last public speech before he was arrested in 1962, and ends at the site in Howick, where he was taken into custody. Organizers are still upbeat about this year's edition. Over 6,000 runners have already entered.
From an operational point of view, definitely this year we are on track. I mean, I've got a meeting with the water supplier this afternoon. We're nearly doubling the amount of water that will be available en route and making sure that the athletes will get whatever they need.
The Mandela Day Marathon will be held on the 25th of next month. It will feature sub-races like mountain biking and triathlon, with prize money exceeding 3 million rand. Entries close on Friday. Tade Sharipashad, SABC News, Pietermaritzburg.
If you're a sports fan, you can be forgiven for thinking that you've been at a theme park for the past couple of weeks with all the drama, excitement and frustration. South Africa have had the national under-20 team and the national women's team at FIFA World Cups. The men's cricket team recording their worst performance at a World Cup, and Bafana returning home after the AFCON quarterfinals. The Proteas netball team are in the business end of their World Cup, and the Springboks begin their international season this weekend. So the rollercoaster ride is set to continue. High-performance specialist Julian joins me to chat a little bit more about this. The company where he's the CEO has worked with both the Proteas, the Springboks, various EPL and PSL sides, as well as Darren Clarke, the 2011 Open winner. Good morning and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, thanks for having me.
Let's start off with the Proteas. It was really difficult to swallow some of those performances at the World Cup. Was it down to bad mental preparation?
Well, I think the Proteas was a combination. If you take it back a year ago, that very famous now, infamous series with Australia, the Sandpaper Gate, where it all started, we had an easy 5-0 victory, I think it was, against Australia. Following that, we had the retirement of AB de Villiers, which kind of set South Africa back from a mental point of view. I think up until just before the team was announced, there were still uncertainties. We had a series against Sri Lanka where things didn't quite go as planned, and again, teams need consistency. For mental preparation, it's important that you spend time together. It's no quick fix, unfortunately. These are cultural issues that need to be built into a team over time. They need to fight adversaries. They need to go through series wins and losses and stand together as a team. And unfortunately, the Proteas didn't have that opportunity. And going into the Cricket World Cup, they really were on the back foot. Obviously, our loyalty within us, everyone as a South African backed them. But I think if we really take a deep, hard look inside, we'll realize that we weren't mentally prepared for this World Cup.
Yeah, obviously all the focus is on our national teams at the moment, and the spotlight has never been brighter. Is this an indicator of the health of sport in South Africa, or an indicator of our sportsmen's and women's ability to deal with pressure?
I don't think it's definitely not the ability to deal with pressure. I think as South African sportsmen and women, we are faced with massive amounts of pressure, which we carry the nation's hopes on our shoulders, often more so than many other countries in the world. The fact that we still, despite all the noise in our system, despite the lack of infrastructure and the lack of funding in many sports, are still able to compete at the absolute highest level. If you consider our netball girls, in a semi-final against Australia, England, Australia, the Americas, we're always around in the top 3 or 4 despite everything. So from a talent point of view, it's definitely not it. I think the fact that there's so much noise in the system, we often aren't mentally prepared. There's too many changes, inconsistency in approach, inconsistency in team selection, etc., etc. That may play a very important part. Our performances are dictated by the way we believe, and the way our attitudes obviously are influenced by our beliefs.
What is going to be the key for our national teams that are still in major tournaments? Just quickly as we wrap it up, the netball team obviously going to the semi-final, and the Springboks ahead of their international season.
Absolutely. Common objective. I think they need a common goal. They need to all speak the same language, be off the same, or sing off the same hymn sheet. I think that's critical. We've seen that with the netball team. They've had consistency of approach. Rassie Erasmus will be taking the Springboks. What's good for us is that they've spent a fair amount of time together. Many of the boys have come through a system of consistency. So I think high performance mindset is critical here, and consistency of approach. That's obviously always important.
Yeah, and high performance mindset is created through consistency.
Absolutely.
And spending time together. Julian de la Hunt, thank you very much. He's a high performance specialist, just chatting to us about our national teams who have been in the spotlight and will continue to be in the spotlight. To conclude our sport, the